Okay, recording.
Ready. Ready for my exam. Mother. Only that.
Hmm.
Okay, Mike, yes?
Yes, recording.
All right, good. Well, welcome everyone to another Saturday. Hey, more folks are coming. Can you? We have two chairs. We're gonna have to hold on for a second. Yeah.
Hmm.
Considering like 50% of the audience just arrived, we have to stop until they get in here.
Hmm.
Oh, two come, one go. No, no, I think there's a sound that's bothering him. Yes, or saw a lit cigarette over there earlier.
No smoking there.
We're waiting for some other people. Oh, well.
I don't know, he has his own ideas.
Oh, well, he'll come back. Someone just roamed away. Yeah. All right. Well, anyone new here? No?
I don't think so, unless Yvette, but she's not in her square right now.
All right. Well, more important than the message is uh, how and what reacts to the message. Yeah. Because the revelation that you're a lion isn't news. You are a lion. Yeah. It's only news to the sheep programming. And the point is, there can be a great revelation and you'll get a hit that you're a lion as a lion. And then in a few minutes or maybe a few seconds or half of a day or whatever, the programming will kick in, the sheep programming, and it will claim to have had an incredible, profound experience of being a lion.
Hi, sweetie.
But now the search for that return to that experience is just reinforcing the sheep, yes? These things aren't meant to be understood, they're meant to be felt, really, because I have a great amount of faith that what's being described here, uh, you've appeared in that description many, many, many times. In other words, we have used what we are to look for what we are without knowing it, obviously, because you would hope that if you knew it, obviously that would something would shift, yes, because like what's looking is what you're looking for sort of implies the looking for is going to drop off precipitously, yes, if you seem to get it. Yeah. So the idea of the message is premised on the fact, but let's say it's an idea that being ourselves reality, yeah, the greatest mystery ends up uh, is reality wanting to attain reality, because being ourselves reality is really has been uh, covered over, obscured with this idea of being ourselves Paul or Mary or Jim or Hiram or whoever. Yes, and that idea is going to get more reinforced in time than almost anything else. Yeah. So every moment of the day when something's happening, the head is going to use that which is happening to imply it's happening to you or you're the one that's doing it. Yes. This is so all day you're walking around and there's an agenda being completed while we're under the illusion we're having an agenda, but something else is actually overriding a possibility. And that possibility is always available at all times because we are what we're looking for. Now, it's not like, it didn't say, what's looking is what you're looking for. And then there's 50 pages of requirements to meet for you to be what you're looking for. No, what's looking right now, yeah, that awareness, that onness, that doesn't seem to be, if there is a switch, we're never, not even close to it. Yes, it just seems to be on. There's no possibility of tinkering with it. seem to be on this is what's looking. Yeah. Now the who's looking is the dilemma in a way, because the what's looking is claimed to imply there's a who that's looking. And now the who combined with the looking is the blindness to the seeing. Yes? So we are our own worst enemies in this one pursuit. A pursuit that doesn't need any traveling, any gear, any momentum, or any effort, because you're there. Yeah, you're here now. That's why everything, all the appliances, all the ways we know things and get things and experience things are not able to embrace what is. Yeah. They're able to get something and then live on the fear of losing it. They're able to do this and that, but they can't arrive at where they already are. Yes. And there's never not a need to arrive somewhere. They're always, wherever here is, it's there's always the moon of there that's compelling us to move on. Yes. So the whole point of this in this topic is not to study the topic, it's to study what the topic negates, which is duality. Yeah. So it's non means not, duality means two-ness. So two-ness is like act, react, subject, object, day, night. This thing contracts and expands. Yes. All of these movements is how we see everything. We see everything. We see all the waves and all the movements of the ocean based on those tides, so to speak. Yeah. Contracts, expands, desire, aversion. Yes, there's a movement that compels another movement. Yeah. This happens and then therefore that happens. And the underlying rock it's built on is the dualism of our interpretation. Yes. Sometimes you believe you're being thought about in the head, so you're seen as an object, and sometimes you feel you're the thinking of something, so now you're seen as a subject. It switches back and forth. Yeah. Sometimes you're being objectified and sometimes you're the subject. Yes. But you're neither. You see, there's a negation of that. See, the weird thing is that two-ness is what's used to imply the one, but the convincing imagery of the the advertising is the body. Yeah. Because now whatever is claimed, it's painted or tattooed on the idea of this body. So when you're seeing, there's a feeling I'm the seer, and that seer is pictured as a body. It's just that simple. Yeah. So the head's here seeing. Yeah. And of course it sees only the past in a way. So everything it sees is maybe the same thing, but you see only the past most of the time. So there's a seeing, but then there's a sense of being the seer, and that sense is pictured as a body. Yeah. When that sense is entertained, pictured as a body, now as this little pimple of concentrated attention and interest, this idea of Paul, where unbeknownst all this shit's going on, while it's sort of like that ride in Disneyland where you're going to go onto this river in the jungles, and you're going to be the captain, but you should have been suspicious because when you get on the boat, there's 8 steering wheels, so there's 8 people on the ride, and the steering wheel's controlled by someone in a room, and so and you're thinking you go left, and when you go left, a crocodile jumps out of it. So you feel bad, oh no, and go right, and everyone has their narrative, but then no one's driving shit. Because it's generated underneath. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. No matter, that, but the sense of it is still like you're driving. You can know you're 35, 40 years old. It's a ride. But you're just like your kid. Oh, yeah. Yes, because the programming leans in that direction. So it overrides any evidence to the contrary, and it just keeps on lapping up the narrative. That's what it does. Yeah. And it doesn't matter when the truth is or whatever is revealed. it doesn't do enough. It just goes right back into the narrative. Yeah. So
You want to come in a little bit more?
she's all right. Yeah, yeah. So this, she can't be out, so she doesn't need to get in. There it is. So this idea, uh, if you just watch it, just for 5 minutes, you'll get an idea that in the thing that we're listening to, and just the assumption of it all, is that the perceiving is the perceived. Yeah, I'm perceiving. The body is that which is perceiving. Yeah, and then there's a great Zen master, Hoang Po, in like the 1200s, who just put an end to all that with one sentence. He says, "Whatever can be perceived cannot be perceiving." Yeah, so this is not the perceiving. Yeah, it can be perceived, but it's not that which is perceiving. You see, the perceiving would be the subject without an opposite. The way we're seeing it, there's the claiming of the perceiving, and that is the subjectified idea of Paul. And then there's the perceived, which is the objectified side of Paul. So this is the duality that non-duality negates. It's just that simple. So it's not you negating, you get negated. You're not gonna, all right, I'm gonna negate. No, the idea that it's you that's gonna negate is what gets negated. Yeah, it's sort of like there was an old thing in Hinduism, neti neti. Not this, not this, not this, not this. We're jumping through that and just not this. Forget about not this, not this, not this. What? Yeah, because you can get to every not this and still be this. There's nothing left. Me. I'm the only real this. No. So the negation is of the activity of duality, which we represent. Yeah. We're the engine. We're the framing of the engine. Yes. It's sort of like people think they're on a ride and they want to get off, but this is the ride. This is the ride. Yeah. And this ride you can't get off of seemingly. You want to get off of this and get on that, but this is the real ride. Yeah. And this ride is subject, object, object, subject. And non-duality is just putting an end to the reality of it. It doesn't mean you're not going to experience effects, but those effects in the Course in Miracles would be called causeless effects. So when you're dreaming, you are experiencing effects, yes? When you're dreaming of a tiger, in the dreaming, you're scared shit. But then you wake up and you realize the tiger wasn't real. Now it's not producing any effects, but it wasn't real in the dream either, but it produced effects. How did that happen? It wasn't the tiger producing the effects, it was us. Yeah? We're producing the effects. So it doesn't matter if the shit's false or real. If you take false evidence to be real, it's going to appear to be real to you. To the point you may lay down your life for a lie or whatever.
Sure, it looks terrible.
This duality.
But sure.
People, they run into a sense of irritability, restlessness, and discontent sooner or later. Or in Buddhism, they call it dukkha or suffering. Or it could be described as a vague malaise. Yeah, there's something is off, And so basically, the way Buddhism presents it, the offness is really rooted in desire. So the desire, we want something that we don't have and we don't want to lose all of that. Yes, this thing is going on, and there's aversion. I want to stay away from that which I hate. I want to get that which I desire. And when I move that way, it tends to go the opposite way. I end up running back into what I hate and not getting what I desire, which should be a signal that something's off, but we just keep on thinking, if I could only manage better, it should work out. So he would say, desire, is the cause of the suffering in the Four Noble Truths. And then the third thing was, I don't know, I forgot. What was the third thing? It was first desire, then suffering. And then it came to the idea of self. Yeah. And he presented a statement called anatta, which is non-self. And so one of the things he was attributed to say was a statement is, there's events are happening, deeds are done, yet there's no individual doer thereof. So that would be the sense of anatta. It doesn't mean there aren't actions, there's not an actor. Yeah. So there's a whole lot of doing, but no one's doing it. Yeah. Yeah. So the relief isn't from, I'm not going to do anything. No, the relief is from the doer. It's not relief from the doing. The doing will find its own way. Yeah. And you'll travel lighter through it. It's the doer that gives the most meaning to whatever's done. The doer, the haver. So if you want to hear the head, I call it a mental process. Yes. We call it selfing. That head, its main movement is to claim. So we are the interface of conscious contact. There's an onness that allows things to appear. Yes, I'm awake and I'm awake to things appearing. Yes? And in that would be called like conscious contact. Yeah. Seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, touching, and then seeing subtler objects like thoughts. Yeah. So we're in conscious contact. In about a second or two, maybe less, in time, the mental state becomes conscious of what we have brought it. Yeah? It's now been introduced to this living, and it claims whatever it's been introduced to imply or to reinforce the idea that there's a noun. Yeah. So all the doing is used to reinforce the idea of the doer. And when the idea of the doer is set, it's set to be before the doing, which is insane, really. So something that comes from something else is now the cause of the something else it came from. So the doer now is what's doing. Yeah. And then the head has a freaking field day, because now it's got, oh, wait a minute. I was only playing with 52 cards. Now I got about 180 cards. I shouldn't have done what was just done. Yeah. I should have done something else. So then all these options that don't change a fucking thing except your condition, it makes it worse. All these other options suddenly become available. I didn't have to do that, but you did, is the problem. So like with me, I could be thinking, oh, I would have been a pro boogie boarder by now. If only I didn't get run over by the car, but I got run over by a car. It doesn't matter in this little fantasy land. I got run over by a car. It's an important point in the story. So, but if I don't know, you'd be this, you'd be that. Yeah. And so you go into a world of what's not happening, and in a way, there's no you that gets lost, because there is no you that gets lost. There's a sense of being lost, and then that's claimed to imply there's a you that's lost. And of course, if the you feels like it's lost, it may be motivated to do what? To find. Yeah? So now it uses what it is to look for what it is. Yeah? All the while producing and reinforcing a blindness to what it is. Yeah? By the looking for. In other words, if you're using light to find light, there's a denial of light in there. Yeah. So if you already have the light and you're using it to look for the light, something's off. Yes, obviously. If you could see, hey, that lie that I'm not the light is not true, you'll probably stop looking for light, and you'll recognize you are the light. Yeah, beautiful. And when you recognize you are the light, a lot of these wheels of time and seeking and generating more actions just slowly come to a halt, really. A lot of the mental tributaries dry up. You just lose complete interest in transcendence. You lose complete interest in the need to be liberated, because you realize you're not that which needs to be liberated. That's the liberation. It's from the need to be liberated. The real transcendence is from the need to transcend. all that. And now you're here where you've always been, but you're completely awake to it. You're here like all the time, sleeping, awake, every time. There's something, whatever you want to call it, I wouldn't call it you. There's a here-ness that doesn't go anywhere. I may think and get up, my head may think and get absorbed in next week, but I haven't moved an inch. That everywhere, it's not even like a jello that gets shook up. It's just there. It's more like a sky like today, like this huge open sky that if a cloud appears in it, it doesn't take anything away from the sky, nor does it add anything to the sky. The sky just allows everything to appear in it without being affected by it, really. I haven't seen one 4th of July event where the sky just got opened up and went on fire. Just tons of explosions. The sky just allows it to happen. Never heard an airplane pilot call up the tower, I ran into a chunk of sky up here. No, it's just, yes, that's what like mind is like. Always here, everything appears in it and is allowed to appear in it, and everything departs. Yeah, yet it doesn't go and it doesn't come. You don't know what it's like if your nature is really what you would call a stop, but that's actually your nature. Your nature isn't moving constantly into yesterday and tomorrow. That's the nature of the head. The head's fucking going off. What we are doesn't go anywhere. It's always here. And when you go on a train of thought, when you get dropped off, it's at the exact same station that you were at when you got on the train. Something suspicious, man. I don't think you go anywhere. I thought I went on a long trip. No, you never left the freaking station. So this was amazing when I heard this idea. It really was. I can feel, as a narrative and action figure, two huge things have happened. One was getting struck sober, because I was a very, as an action figure, the package came with accessories, like syringes, like that. It would have been better if I just bought the action figure standing alone. It came with a lot of pieces that weren't whatever. Yeah. So the action figure got struck sober. It was amazing. Right? I can sense the interruption and the stop of something that I thought was never gonna stop. I didn't think if you stop this at the speed it was going, there's gonna be a huge fucking crash, and it wasn't. It's just something just stopped this incessant urge or desire, as they talk about in Buddhism. It was just like a radioactive isotope that was just urging escape. Just, first of all, because I believed I was the doer and I'd done seemingly a lot of shit, I did not want to stop and get caught by. Yeah? I had built up tons of guilt and shame that my idea of dealing with shit was making new shit, really. So I never had to get to the old shit. And I was quite adept at it, you know? And there I was, washed up for quite a while, but washed up. I had given up hope completely, really, because I had gone to a program for 2 years, got sober, you know, because I couldn't go anywhere. They watched you like a hawk. Went to college, felt really much better in that place. I thrived in the institutional setting. But when I left, I went back to the same shit because something took me over like it had before. And so by the time I had been 10 months into this run back into that lifestyle, was pretty much, we have a great way of saying it in recovery. It was a pitiful, incomprehensible demoralization. I was just crushed, really. And basically, the logic could only lead me to one thing. I just got to stay loaded as much as possible till I go to jail again or institution or die, you know, basically, because I just can't bear the weight that's waiting for me. Yeah. So I was just, it was a trip, man, because I went out St. Patrick's Day, not like I didn't go out March 16th, 15th, 14th, 13th, but it was it signified on the highway of life. I didn't know I was coming to a big turn. I didn't, but that was the day. I lost the car that March 18th. March 19th and 20th, I have no idea really what happened. And there was things that happened a lot called blackouts and when you come out of a blackout, it's like, parachuting behind enemy lines. You have no idea where you're at, and you're thinking everyone else has been missing you. But there's been another Paul representing the action figure. And actually, that Paul did a better job when the historic Paul, because I didn't get arrested a lot when I was in blackouts. I got arrested a lot when I wasn't in blackouts. So that new model of Paul, I wish would have had more time to run the show than the old model. But the new model of Paul got shooed away when the old one came back. And he came back, woke up in a trailer park, Calistoga, facing someone just like here, who I didn't know, and drinking a bottle of Royal Gate vodka, a very cheap vodka. And man, I looked at this guy's face, and he had a big bulbous nose, varicose veins and everything. And I said to myself, this guy's a bum. And lo and behold, he looked at me like I was a bum. That's how I read it. And right at that point, not right at that point, but a half a second later, the screen went blank, which I did not, could never even imagine that. It just went blank. And then it was like a CNN news flash came across the screen. And it was simply, you're fucked. Yeah? Which I had been trying to evade for years. I never wanted to get caught by that one. It was like, I'll get caught by all the other little baits, but that bait would be the end of me, But it hit me. And then right underneath it was, and you're not managerial quality. Yeah. Now, that probably would have died on the vine a day or two later if I kept going. But what happened is life conspired to set off a train of circumstances that brought me to an AA meeting that night in San Francisco. And I've been sober ever since. It's mind-boggling. 34 now, 34 years or so. And I've never had a strong feeling or thought about drinking or using. I seriously. And that radioactive isotope was put to much better use. It was valuable. But when the head was running it, it was very destructive. When something else took it, it put it to great use to benefit myself and others. So I've seen so much I can never even put out. So yeah, that was huge. Then years later, as I was coming back into whatever you call sobriety, I only had vague ideas of when the best time it was in my early 20s when I was involved in a spiritual group from 20 to 24. And that was basically all the other time was fucked. So I figured I'm going to try to do what was the best stuff in there, which was meditation and stuff. And so I tried to get involved. This time looked into Buddhism, started going to Asia. And this all it was a sober life that afforded all this. Yeah. I had some money to go to Asia. So I started going to Asia. I love temples, love Buddha imagery. As you can see, I have it here. And started to meditate, started to do that. And, I was earnest and willing, and I met other people, did a lot of stuff in those things. Yet, I was missing something incredibly important, unbeknownst to me, and that was brought about by hearing non-duality, this idea. First, it was incredibly novel. I had never heard anything presented with the goal is already where you start from, which is beautiful. It's such a beautiful save of huge amount of time and a lot of shit. Because meant the head can get up to a lot of shenanigans if it's going to be time and distance. And I would read stuff and it would stop me in my tracks. Not me, it would stop the head. And I could feel a rearranging of the chairs of the Titanic. It really did. And it motivated me a lot. I went to India to see this guy who I read this book from, Who Cares, by this guy Ramesh Balsekar. And then I went to where Ramana Maharshi lived, the godfather of contemporary non-duality. And what an incredible space that was. And I got introduced to other people throwing these ideas around, and they were landing. One felt like an unspoken yes. The other one was like, I knew I was never going to ask another question again because I saw the futility of it all. I saw unless you're left with your own devices, you're never going to see they're not your own devices. If you keep getting fed by how you grab, you're never going to really get suspicious of the grabbing itself. You'll be blaming you or the thing itself, but the grabbing, the wanting to know and get, you don't see. This is the obscuring factors. And what non-duality, I feel, does, and satsang it's a disarming event. It disarms that thing, the time clock for the race of spiritual growth just shuts down. The guy takes off the little bucket, puts it aside. There's no, all right, the race, no shooting gun. It's just fucking very disarming. And when you stop, you don't realize how much will land. All the real good shit misses you when you're trying to get there. When you stop trying to get there, fucking shit lands. A lot of stuff finds you without you looking for. And so the AA, getting struck sober, allowed the action figure to reach a certain level of okayness, because it would have been more hell if I heard non-duality. Yeah, I heard it exactly when it could land. It didn't appear in my sky when my tower was totally chaotic. It wouldn't have been able to land. And then I would have left with the idea, oh, I know what that is, but missed the whole fucking point. But the way of life of sobriety allowed a lot of shit to change that really got sort of the bed ready and then the idea hit, and there was chaos didn't envelop it. There was, I was like free range alcoholic at the time. I wasn't completely fighting to drink or nothing. And so things landed, and then they could unload, and shit got unloaded. And it brought me to the point that's pointless. The point that you really are what you're looking for. Yeah, you can't see it by looking for it. Well, maybe you can, but that's how it didn't fall apart that way for me. Shit stopped. Yeah, the seeking stopped, and instead of the seeker and all the sought, it was the seeker is the sought. Yeah, ended a lot of time, a lot of. Yeah. So here we are, sharing about this for years and years and years, and it's I see it from here as the last answer to me, because it took away any need for any other answer concerning, which was a very important topic. What the hell is going on, Alfie? I have no idea. And now I'm very chilled out, having no idea. Before it was very disturbing having no idea. Now my pay level has dropped precipitously. I don't need to know much. And it's, surprisingly to the mental logic, it's worked. Yeah. And that's the beauty of this message. This message is very surprising to the mental logic. When it's introduced into the mental logic is what? Like a door, what? It doesn't, its whole thing is to move and to get, and then this is a whole complete disarming of all that. Yeah. And you know, it takes a lot of shit away. Like you're not gonna run it like a blog post. You know, I'm not driven to Peru to take, you know, twice the amount of ayahuasca as I took the last time. I'll get back to you if this is no. Fucking, I got nothing going on. What do you do all day? Very little, probably. Yeah. Are you constantly progressing? No, I don't think so. I hope not. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of value in not doing, you know, not going anywhere. Yeah, a lot of shit that hides from all the moving, you know, pops up when you're not going anywhere. It does. I swear to God, I've had more revelatory downloads. Not trying to, you know, figure out where the frequency is. You know, just losing interest in all that. Yeah. Losing interest in it all. You can't do the see. The warnings are necessary because it will sound like the right thing to do for me as Paul to try to lose interest in Paul, but that's just more interest in Paul. You have to lose interest in Paul, not as Paul. You don't lose interest in Paul as Paul. You lose interest in Paul. Yeah. Yeah. And once you fall on this little idea of losing interest, you really see the migratory direction is that it's always losing interest in self. Seriously. It doesn't turn around. It just always goes loss of interest in self. That's how it goes, I feel. I've been watching the birds for a while. I haven't seen them making an extreme right or left. They just seem to be going away from the preoccupation of self. Yeah. And that's beautiful because when it goes away from there, that's the here that you're always in. You get released of the mental jet stream, and then you're here. You're not here being fooled by a mental here. You're here. And then you see the presentations of mental hears. But you're here. Yeah. Always. Always. You actually are what you're looking for. The seeker is the sought. Yeah. And then the warnings are great. I love Hawaiian Po, this great Zen man. I really dig him since I was younger. He had a beautiful thing, and he says, you know, you just can't use the Buddha to seek the Buddha. You can't use mind, big M mind, to seek mind. You can't use light to seek light. And he probably could have explained it better, but he assumed land. You know why? Because you're the light, you're Buddha, you're mind. He didn't think he had to spell that out, but here we are, 2022. We better spell it out. It's you know, he's not talking to Chris. He's talking to Buddha. Yeah. All the while, there's the act of Chris going on, but that's going on in the state of Buddha. Chris is not the state of Chris. Chris is an act, a mental act of Chris in the state of Buddha. Yeah. So Huang Po didn't see Amelia and Paul and John. He saw the Buddha, I imagine. Why? And he was directing with all the different people in the audience to the same fucking hearing, the same seeing, which is the Buddha, mind and light. Basically, once again, going right to the point of non-duality, being ourselves reality. When? Now. Where? Here. Yeah. It's not something that, oh, I can't wait when it's being ourselves reality. I hope we can do it together. I hope you and me will be ourselves reality. No, it's happening now. No matter what's going on, that's the fact. That doesn't have an effect on the fact unless the fact has seemingly forgot that it's a fact and it's taken itself to be the dream. Yeah. How can false evidence appear real unless it appears real to something? I would say it's appearing real to what's real. Yeah. So false evidence appears real. And in duality, false evidence can appear not to be real. Yeah. It doesn't have to be false evidence appears real. The pivot isn't on the evidence, it's us. Yeah? If there's a certain condition that's dominant, false evidence appears to be real a lot. If another condition is dominant, the one that is dominant, false evidence will be seen as false evidence. Or it will be seen as true evidence, but you'll see you're not that's seeing it as true evidence. Yeah. It doesn't even have to change. The idea it's not you comes in. So, of course, the head is going to take the false evidence to be real, but you see you're not that which is taking the false evidence to be real. That's all. It's not going ahead, it's just lagging behind, really. You're lagging behind all the fucking movements and you see shit. Yeah. I remember when I was in, this is a good way of getting it. I lived in Florida, down in Coconut Grove. And then there was Dadeland. And Dadeland was a big mall even then. Yeah. And then they opened like an international, like a European type mall in Coconut Grove. They were building it up, making it exotic. Now, to drive from Dadeland to this exotic thing, you went through a bad neighborhood or a poor neighborhood. So what they did is they painted the front of all the houses, not the sides or the back, just the front. So that the people who were leaving Dadeland, looking to shop more, would only see the front of the houses. Yeah, unbelievable. And yet, and then they said, "Oh, fuck that!" And they built a monorail or something. Just they bypassed the whole neighborhood, and you don't even have. Oh, wait a minute! You just took a train above it to the next mall. It's amazing. They had the whole Sid County painted every front of every house. Okay. Okay. So if you stop, you'll see the ass of a lot of shit. You'll see all the unpainted varnish of the whole thing. When you're looking at it like this, oh yeah. But when you see it from behind, you see the machinery. You get a very strong suspicion this is manufactured. This is a facility, and there's a lot of things that are working in it. It's like our Zoom. There's people that use our Zoom time for other meetings. Basically, we don't even know. So you go there, there's a Tupperware presentation. Wait a minute. I thought, so there's a lot of things going on in people, in us, that are going unaware, we're unaware of. Yeah, we're unaware of a whole lot. And it's behooved, it's beneficial for these other activities to keep us quite unaware. Yeah. And they found it's just like in alcoholism. I like to talk about the bondage of self as a parasitical thing. So self is a parasite, so to speak. And then we're the us. Yep. So, and the self knows that it's hostile to the host, let's say. Yeah. So the parasite knows that the host is not going to be doing well when it's doing well. Yeah. And that if the host had the possibility, it would throw the fucker off. Yeah. So now the parasite, knowing that, comes up with an incredible strategy. I'm going to convince the host that I'm the host. Yeah. So I'm going to keep talking to the host as if I'm the host, but with an incredible parasitical agenda. Yeah. And therefore, when the host, yearns to be free, it's going to yearn to be free as the parasite. When the freedom is from the parasite. Yeah. I would say that's what happens a lot on this one cartoon comic book level. Yeah. In a dualistic manner, there's like, supposedly Jesus said, you cannot serve two masters at the same time. There's a quiet master that's readily always available, and then there's a yakking one with a megaphone. And it uses time very well because it constantly has you not even becoming yourself, but you already are one. Yeah. And so when there's a claiming of a doing, that sense of a doer feels historical. You feel like you've been a doer of a lot of things. Yes. So it uses time to as an incredible magic trick, and it induces like almost a swoon or a trance So we tend to lean towards listening to the one master, even about the other master. We rely on this master to tell us about that master, which it doesn't, yeah, it has a bias, let's say, yeah. So uh, there's there's no need to try to recognize that without seeing this first. Because if you try to recognize that as this, it's just going to be more recognition of the parasite. Yeah, it's going to use God, and God can be a big full-length mirror to get a huge reflection of itself. Yeah, so the warnings are about recognizing what you're not before you go off looking for or trying to find out what you are. Because when you realize what you're not, there's no need to find out what you are. When you realize what you're not, there is no reason to find out what you are. That is what you are. Yeah.
And no matter how bound you are, you feel like you're to the parasite, it's really a knife's edge. That's what I've been getting the last few times with you. You just flip like that. It's not
Well,
really,
the head
it's not
does,
real,
but you
real
don't. See, the thing is, in a way, in being awake in the dream, it's still seemingly. So you're seemingly awake, and then you seemingly go back to sleep. But the fundamental space is awakeness. So no matter what it looks like, that's not what's happening. You haven't moved ever. Yeah. And so all the huffing and puffing, when it's all said and done, nothing has come to pass. It's just been just verbing. Yeah. Like dreaming. I don't like the term dream because it sounds like a thing already. I feel there's dreaming. So a lot happens, but nothing ever happens. Yeah? But a lot happens, but nothing ever really happens. We are what's happening. Yeah? We. So of course, it's like a knife's edge. It feels like that. It feels like, but it's not true because when we look down, we're mistaken. There's something, there's a contextualness of the solution that there is no space for a problem to intrude in it, really. In that space, it can't be intruded by the problem. Yeah. Here, on the surface, yes. Change feelings, feel this, don't feel great, this and that. All that goes on and on. But there's that echo is only on the surface. It doesn't play. Yeah. That's the faith, really. The faith is you've had enough free samples in this dualistic movement to know there's a singularity, let's say, or something. It does hit you, it goes somewhere. Yeah, you're convinced. Not needing to be convinced on the surface, but by seeing through the surface, you're convinced, yeah, of whatever is indescribable, incomprehensible. But there's an assurance that comes about. Yeah, you just feel an assurance. You can't really prove it or anything. You're not interested in this, but emptiness doesn't scare you, so to speak. That's really your home. But people would love it to stabilize on the surface, but I think on the surface, the best you can go for is traveling lighter. So you'll travel lighter through the chop and through the, you won't take yourself so seriously. Time won't be extended so much. Things will come and go quicker. Yeah, the footprints they leave will be they won't be deep. Yeah, and all throughout the day, everything that happened will blend into a larger context where that which never happens is always happening. You know? We don't notice it because we're used to seeing things come and go to recognize, oh, now that it's gone, it was there. Yes, there's way the head works in a binary way that it's not really open to, like the fish doesn't know it's in water probably because it's always been in water, or just like gravity. We don't really know we experience the effects of gravity, but we don't know it's gravity. We call it the hill or the stairs or shit. And the best way to know gravity would be the absence of it, right? So if you went into an anti-gravity chamber, you wouldn't have to study about gravity. You would know its effects by its absence. So in a way, this is sort of what happens, I feel. When there's an absence of self, which is always available, right? A lot about what self is revealed, and it ain't. Yeah. 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 So that's how I see it today. Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? We have a Zoom going too, so second class citizens. That's how they think of themselves. Yeah. All right. Hey, Mike,
Yeah.
we're here. Yeah, look at them all. They've all been. They all look quite subdued now. Yes, look at them. Yes.
They're not even seeing.
Okay, I think I've.
Tilted.
We tranced them out enough. We tranced them out enough. Okay, now go into your wallets and handbags. Oh, all right. So, anyone there?
Lots of people here.
Hmm?
Lots of people here.
I know, but anyone with a question?
No hands showing.
Oh, great, great. Maybe we'll end today early.
Any questions here?
Any questions here?
Just by accident.
I have a consideration, but I think I'll wait till coffee time.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, good. Yeah.
Why? We're not good enough?
Cup coffee.
Yeah, right. It's faster and
Eh?
faster.
Why? We're not good enough?
I love all of you. Not to the same degree, but I love all of you. There is a pecking order. Oh, there's Walter, the brother from another mother. There's Ada. Ada, nice to see you, Ada.
Thanks.
We got Boaz. We got Stewart. Boaz had a very nice. We had a nice conversation last week. Not to talk. We've got David W. Always. You look like the Undertaker last time. It's much better today. You had the little
Doing
hat
better.
completely in the dark. What? Not now. I have things to do. It's your time. Roman, always a pleasure, Roman. Roman, we're going to see you in Italy, eh? That would be great.
Yes.
That would be cool. Very good. Yeah. Lee, nice to see you, Lee. Hopefully, I'm going to see you more often here, but in Doylestown. Yes? That's good. All right, Bill. Nice to see Bill. He's got the largest lazy boy I've seen. It's about 6 feet wide. You couldn't get that into a room. You'd have to cut the door open wider.
I have big doors too.
Yeah. All right, we got Anu. Thank you so much for that money, Anu. And then if I was a person, I'd buy everyone here a coffee, but there's too many of them today. I'm not gonna do it.
About 100.
We have Stuart from Oz. There he is. Nice to see you, Stuart. David is Oz. Roman, Germany. Kathleen, she's from another planetary system. She's here just for a short while. Nice to see you, Kathleen. Walter, yeah, Amsterdam, Netherlands. Oh, Vlad. Vlad has been off the reservation. He's back now. Nice to see you, Vlad. All's well? All's well, Vlad?
All is well. Thank you so much. Thank you. And see you in Italy soon.
Oh, good. Yes, for sure. We got Sherry, Stefan on having never left. On having never left is a beautiful statement. Yeah, you get this feeling of it. So in Buddhism, they have the idea of going to the distant shore. Yeah, and then when you arrive at the distant shore, on having never left. What does that imply? Yeah, there you go. I was just hoping it was happening. Yeah. You get a yes. You get a hearty handshake after the meeting. Come back. All right, we have Tariq. Tariq is gonna. I just heard terrible news. Tariq is gonna be out of Dover when I go there. Very upset about that. Yeah, it's okay. All right, we got Al from Las Vegas with his two little friends there. Ben, always nice to see Ben. Ben C, our poet laureate of Zen Bitch Lab. Nanette, always a pleasure, Nanette. Yes. See, if I had a candle in a room, when Nanette walked in the room, the candle would get larger, the flame. Yeah. We got Chris. Chris is at the door. Yeah. He's at the door of Beanpole Heaven. Beanpoles. Hey, get away from that cat. Oh, Zoe. Zoe. Nice to see you, Zoe. Arkansas. Yeah. Yeah. All right, Anish, there he is. I'm very happy. Anish appeared as if he never left. Yes, Anish has that quality. Rich H, nice
Yeah.
to see you.
Hi, Paul.
Elaine, nice to see you there. We got Sung Kim, nice to see you, Sung.
Hi, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Is this your first time here?
Uh, yes, it is.
Oh, fantastic. Welcome. Yeah. Yeah. We got David B. Grateful Dave. David B. Nice to see you. All right, we have Kathleen in New York. Oh, Kathleen, we'll be seeing you in Dover, New Jersey. Yeah, take a train over there. You know, it's actually a pretty good, if it's like it used to be, there's a lot of recovered alcoholics. It's a pretty good meeting. Yeah. Got a lot of power in there. It really does. We got Angie. There she is. Nice to see you, Angie. The smile is getting more, yes, there you go. There she goes. She broke it there. Very nice. Dave B. This is Dave Bitterman. You are what you're looking for, yeah. Kenneth. Kenneth down up in Vancouver.
Thanks, Paul.
Nice to see you, bro. Or not see you.
Sorry.
But I think I'm gonna say this right. Yvette Nam. Yvette Nam, I think. Well, forgive me if I mispronounced it. Brahmi, there she is. Thanks for the conversation the other day, Brahmi. Yeah.
So great to hear you, Paul.
Nice to see you. Nice to
Yeah.
talk with you. Yeah. Holly A. We got Michael. Susan K takes care of my lattes. Lucas P. Amy Seattle. Some phone numbers. I can't see that. Hey, thank you, everyone. I'll see you. Just go to zenbitslap.com event page. It tells you all that wherever we are. Yeah. Thank you so much for. See you. Bye bye.
You, bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Mike. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey, thank you, everyone. Yeah, thanks, Mike.